We know that 1 in 3 students in this country are currently not actually reaching basic literacy and numeracy exams. They're not passing, they are failing. And we now know that possibly it could be teachers to blame for this, because a new report by the Grattan Institute has found that 1 in 12 trainee teachers actually dropped out of maths in high school. 1 in 12. The Grattan Institute also found that thousands of primary school teachers are struggling to teach mathematics, resulting in teenagers who use their fingers to count. So these teachers are expected to teach maths, but actually can't do basic maths themselves. Now, if we bring up Jordana Hunter, she was actually the lead on this report. This is what she says. She says, quote, "Taught poorly, students are robbed of a core life skill. Innumerate adults have worse job prospects and are more likely to struggle with routine tasks such as managing budgets and understanding health guidance." Now, I remember once I graduated from high school, about 2 or so years later, the ATAR, so the entry requirements to get into university, for teaching and for nursing, for that matter, they actually dropped the entry requirements. They dropped it to a lower level, and simply for the fact that they couldn't find enough teachers, nor could they find enough nurses. But that in itself is a big problem. We find out a week ago that to get into teaching, they had to drop that ATAR result so low because they're so desperate that some students are able to go into university with an ATAR of 39. 39. It basically means you can fail your Year 12 exam, completely fail it, and you can still enter as a teacher. Now, how concerning is that when you think that these are the people that are teaching the next generation, and if you can't even count, if you have to use your hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have failed all of your exams, and then you're teaching the next generation, I think that is an absolute failure, and it is worrying. Now, I'm not pretending like I'm good at math. I am not good at maths, full stop. Hence why I'm now on television.
There's a reason we all went into journalism.
I'm on television, because I can't do math. But the point is that I'm not a teacher, and I worry for the next generation that they're being taught by these people, and literacy and numeracy standards are so low in this country as it is, and here's the proof.
Well, that ATAR 39.95 or whatever it is, that's the bottom 4% of school leavers, right? Yeah. Which is just insane. And in what they did at the Grattan Institute, they found that 8% of teachers did no maths at all in Year 12s. Those who did maths, the vast majority did like the easiest version of the subject available to them, which is exactly what I did in high school, but I didn't want to be a teacher. 13% of primary school teachers, 9% of high school teachers failed a standard global maths test in Year 10. And these are the people who are sent off into the classroom to nurture the next generation. Is it any wonder that the results just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse? Because, of course, it's a bit like compound interest. The more money you put into a system, the more money you end up making. And, of course, the more money you take out of the system, the worse it ends up being, because you just keep churning these same people through who know less and less and less and less and less every time you go along. So it's diminishing returns, right? But I had to chuckle at the answer that the Grattan Institute came up with, which was that we need to reteach all of these teachers about mathematics. And in order to do it, we need to send people in on 250 grand a year to teach these teachers how to do maths. I mean, how do you get out the other side of a university degree to be a teacher and not know how to teach basic numeracy? Like, it just seems so straightforward, and we're like, well, let's chuck a bit more money. Let's chuck a bit more money at it. The Australian Education Union has been telling us for decades the biggest problem in the education system is that we don't have enough money. And year on year, they chuck more and more money into it, and the results keep getting worse and worse. So what are we meant to do?
It's amazing how many institutions in this country have that exact problem. It's quite common. The ABC have that problem as well. If only they had a little more money, their programs would improve. The other amazing statistic from that Grattan Institute report was that a quarter of primary school teachers did not feel confident to teach maths to kids in grade 6. So I guess grade 6, you're talking about, what, 10-year-olds? And a quarter, 25% of primary school teachers said we wouldn't feel confident doing that. It's all very well to say, well, let's have remedial teaching for teachers. But if you're not dealing with the methodology of teaching, then you're simply giving remedial teaching to teachers who are teaching a flawed methodology anyway. And this is another one of the findings from this report, is that mathematics is typically being taught in primary school in the context of games and helping students to discover answers rather than, I don't know how you guys went through school, but I remember standing in a line of kids, and when you got to the front of the line, you were asked a times table, 5 5s, and if you didn't know that 5 5s was 36, you'd, whatever it is. I know what it is. That was a joke. It's 25. I know what it is. That was just to see if you were paying attention. You'd
The
go
old
sit
John
down.
Law's deliberate
And this was a
mistake.
competition that was repetition, until you learned your times tables by rote. The finding from this study that we've got kids in high school who are counting on their fingers sounds unbelievable until you go to a cafe and pay in cash and wait for your change. And you'll be waiting a long time.
Well, we used to do it in song. We used to sing the times tables. That's how we learn. And you commit it to memory over time. Don't ask me now. I'm not going to do a James McPherson and give it a crack on live television. But that's how you learn over time. But if the teacher doesn't know that, then we are setting up the next generation to completely fail.